Joining me now is Clare Akamanzi from Kigali. Clare, it's so good to see you. Let me start by asking you this. How much has the pandemic rolled back the progress Rwanda has made over the years?
Very nice to be here with you, Zain, as well. So the pandemic has had negative effects on our economy, just like many economies of the world. If you look at 2019, Rwanda was among the fastest growing economies in the world. We grew at 9.4%, and we had an 8% growth on average for the decade before 2019. And then in 2020, we contracted by 3.4%. It was the first time our economy was contracting in years. Almost since 1994, we had never had a contraction like we saw in 2020. But the good news is that as the vaccines are beginning to roll out, we expect that by 2023, our economy will roll back and get back to the pre-pandemic days. And we expect positive growth to start this year, but to get back to that stage pre-pandemic by 2023.
What's the recovery plan for Rwanda looking ahead?
We are betting on manufacturing, because the key with manufacturing is that the domestic market is very important in consuming the products from the manufacturing sector. And so compared to the services, if you look at our strategy before the pandemic, it was very much based on attracting tourism, conferences, among others, which were very much dependent on external consumers. So this time, our key recovery plan is going to be around manufacturing. The second one is going to be a different type of tourism that we think can survive within the context of the pandemic. So tourism, for example, while we can have conferences on Zoom, sports events need to be done mostly physically. We just hosted with the NBA, the Basket Africa League, and we had a very good number of people, almost 1,000 coming to Kigali to attend the NBA, and we had to manage that within the context of the COVID-19. So sports tourism is going to be very important. People are beginning to travel again. Our aviation sector is picking up very strongly as well. As we see people beginning to travel, we get about 1,000 people on average leaving Kigali or coming to Kigali. So that's going to be a key sector for growth. So services sector is going to be managed within the context of the pandemic, but we expect that real recovery will come from manufacturing and agriculture. So those sectors are the ones we're looking at right now.
Clare, has Rwanda's sponsorship of Arsenal football team paid off as anticipated? I mean, you were the architect of Visit Rwanda and that whole enterprise. Did it pay off?
Visit Rwanda is becoming a well-known brand. If you look at the sleeves of Arsenal, the PSG, and now the NBA Africa League, all show Visit Rwanda. So it's been a really good brand. If you look at the impact in 2019, when we had just started to see the benefits, Rwanda's tourism grew by 17%, which was the highest growth year on year. And then just from the UK, where the biggest market for the Visit Rwanda brand was, it was 22%. But of course, the pandemic interrupted what Visit Rwanda was going to benefit from these partnerships. And now we are reimagining how this partnership is going to support the recovery of tourism post-pandemic, and that's what we're looking at. But already 2019 showed it was the right thing to do.
I didn't hear you mention aviation, and I know that that is also really important for Rwanda. You have an important relationship with Qatar to build Rwanda as an aviation hub. Can you talk to us a little bit about that partnership and where you're at with it? And also how you see Rwanda as having a competitive advantage over places like Joburg, for example, Addis, and of course, Nairobi?
Well, first of all, Rwanda and Qatar enjoy an excellent bilateral relationship, which is really important. And building on the excellent relationships we have with the state of Qatar, we also have economic ties that we're putting in place. And I think the key one is aviation. We have a partnership to jointly build a new airport called Bugesera Airport. We have a partnership to co-own Rwandair. And this is really important because this partnership is going to allow Rwandair and our aviation industry to go to a whole new level. Qatar Airways comes with a lot of strength, financially experience, expertise. Rwanda has a lot of knowledge and experience working within the African continent. And this relationship of the two parties is very key. And I think it's going to really take the aviation sector to another level. Now, what makes us competitive? First of all, even though we have other hubs on the continent that are doing aviation, the need for this market is very huge. If you look at the share of Africa, whether it's trade or investments or tourism, it's just a very small percentage globally. It's always around 2 to 3% in almost every segment. The need is big, it needs more players. So one player, 2, 3 cannot be enough. And that's why Rwanda are coming with Qatar Airways to strengthen and position ourselves, is just making sure that there's more opportunities for a very big need the continent has. But for Rwanda specifically, what makes us competitive, the first thing is our location in the middle of Africa, connecting West, Central, and East Africa. Our location makes us competitive. But secondly, our policies. We are among the few countries in Africa where anyone in the world can travel to Rwanda without having to get a visa before they arrive. Any citizen, whether you come from Jamaica, or you come from Africa, or you come from Europe or South America, you can get a visa on arrival. And that makes it very easy for us to connect people because the policies allow for that to happen. And of course, the infrastructure we're building, whether it's the airport and the airlines. And so I think we've built a very competitive ecosystem, and we continue to invest in a very competitive ecosystem that just makes us have a good bet, but also a real chance in competing for this sector.
And you're also wanting to play in another space. You're setting up Kigali International Finance Center. What makes you think that you can compete as a financial center, for example, with Johannesburg?
It's easy to do business in Rwanda to start with. Today, Rwanda is the easiest place to do business in Africa, only after Mauritius, and we're 38th easiest place to do business in the world. That's the first thing. Secondly, as I said, the need is so big. If you look at the investment opportunities the African continent has, a lot of opportunities still exist, and Rwanda has put in place the policies, the laws, the regulations that make it really work for us.
Clare Akamanzi, thank you so much. Clare, I need to make it soon to Kigali and then hopefully one day name a baby gorilla. I'm overdue.
Zain, you can count on that. Very welcome. And I hope many people that are watching this can also come to Rwanda soon.